More than 30 years since 12-year-old Joey O'Donnell's death, his memory lives on through the foundation his family founded in his name to cure the disease he fought his entire life, the progressive congenital lung disease, cystic fibrosis. Over the last 3 decades, the Joey Fund has raised tens and tens of millions of dollars to help patients and fund research for treatment. This weekend, Joey's family hopes to raise even more at the 33rd annual Joey O'Donnell film premiere in Natick. I'm joined now by Joey's father. You may have heard of him, Joe O'Donnell. Good to see you. And sisters Casey and Kate. Great to see all three of you. Joe, can I start with you? Your son died 31 years ago. How do you remember him now? What does Joey conjure in your mind?
Nothing but great memories. I mean, I think the mind does a funny thing after you have a tragedy like that. The first year, the second year were really tough to kind of reconcile what we were going to do. I never dreamed that we'd continue on with the disease because as soon as he was born, we started. And then when he died, we recommitted.
Were you alive when Joey was alive? Neither of you.
No.
So
3 months before I was born.
So you've learned about this young man that everybody watching knows about.
Yeah.
So how strange is that?
It's a very bizarre situation, but I think, my parents kept him alive in the house. It was not a taboo subject at all. We grew up he was our brother, and we knew everything about him, and so I think it made it very easy for us to get involved in the foundation very early on and to talk about it with our friends.
You're co-presidents, are you not? Am I right about that?
Of the Joey Fund.
Of the Joey Fund, right. So what's it like for you? I mean, everybody talks about this kid. Everybody feels like they know, which is actually a beautiful thing, and I hope it makes you feel good. But
well, growing up, we don't remember a specific time that we were really sat down and told, this is who Joey was, this is what happened. It just always was. In our town in Belmont, there's a park that everyone in the town came together and built, and we went to the elementary school where it is, so everyone knew. We never had to really tell our friends this is what happened. Everyone just knew.
All knew the story.
Yeah, so everyone was really a part of it.
Now, I underestimated, because I wanted you to say, how much money have you raised so far for cystic fibrosis?
All together?
Yeah.
Or it's the Joey Fund?
Well, all together.
All together.
I mean, through your work. Well, roughly.
He's very
You're going to be modest? Okay, how much money has been raised?
Hundreds.
And real progress has been made. Almost every time we have somebody sitting out here, when Pete Frady's parents are here, and we talk to them about, and when there's just an ounce of progress on ALS, the feeling is so good. There's been a lot of progress, has there not?
I've met with the Frady's family and a bunch of other families, because we basically, raising that $700 million, we basically have funded Vertex and partnered with a commercial operation. So the progress has been, particularly in the last 7 or 8 years, has been hockey stick. I mean, it's gone right off the chart.
And am I right about this number, Joe? That somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% of people with cystic fibrosis, there's a drug for some level of treatment for them. Is that right?
We developed Kalydeco, the first drug, about 6 years ago, which took about 7% of our population who had a specific mutation. A year and a half later, a combination with Orkambi in that took care of another 35 to 40%. And now we're at 65% right now of the kids that were cured who have this disease.
Do you say to yourself, one of the horrors and wonders of what you've all done is a young boy had to die for this to happen, and I mentioned Pete Frady's, I'm pointing there because they're usually sitting over there. A young man had to have ALS for he and his family and friends to raise hundreds. Is there something wrong with that picture? Do you know what I mean? Shouldn't we be better than that, meaning reaching out to help our fellow families and men and women even before a tragedy inspired us? Do you know what I mean?
I think that sometimes that's unfortunately what it takes, but to get a family like my parents to get involved, it's changed so many lives because only they could have done that. No one else except for my dad could have taken this to where it has gone.
How does it feel when you meet a family where you know that the money you help raise, help fund research, how does that feel when you have that encounter?
Unbelievable. And it's been happening since we were really little. People would come up, and at first it was they just knew my family, and now it's people who come up and say, my daughter's alive because of what you guys did. And it's it's a crazy feeling.
And to meet the kids is
It's
amazing.
So what's the ask? I mean, you were one of the great fundraisers for something you believe in the history of the world. So is it, you got to tell the truth. You got to raise your right hand for this one. No. Is it personal loyalty to you, or is it concern about the kids and the people who have this disease? You know what I mean? When you make that phone call and someone says, I'm going to give you $1 million or give you $100, whatever it is, why are they doing it?
Well, I think you, at the beginning, it's mostly a personal relationship that you expand. The big thing that we did with cystic fibrosis is create an organization because it was disorganized. And I've met with the Frady's family a bunch of times. When they first came in, I couldn't believe a kid that beautiful and that strong and had the disease. I always thought it was
and still incredibly strong, by the way. If you look at his Twitter account, I mean, he's unbelievable.
So it takes a personal relationship to start, and then you need a modicum of success to challenge people to, because hope is what we're selling is hope.
That's exactly right.
And basically we got these kids today who we're going to have this cured because there's another combo drug coming on that'll be approved probably in the next 6 months, which will take 95% of our kids. So it's a little bit of both.
Okay, so he's only raised a few $100 million. Might as well raise a few more. Tell us about this film thing that's happening this weekend. It's what, 33rd, I think? Is that?
Yep.
So tell us about it.
That started before either of us were born. I think the first one was when Joey was still alive, correct?
We didn't call it the Joey Fund until he died.
So what's happening on Sunday?
So it's a fun, casual event. Everyone looks forward to it every year. We have lots of restaurants and food groups come and set up stations. There's cocktails. And it's a casual, no one has to sit down and listen to long, boring speeches. They have to listen to him talk for maybe 3 minutes, but no one minds listening to him. And then after that, there's probably 2 hours of that, and people get in limos and go and watch a movie that hasn't come out yet.
And by the way, the film is secret. From what I understand, there's no way to know. You don't know in advance? Is that how this thing works? Yes?
They just announced.
Yeah, we
Oh, you did? What is it?
Yesterday. It's Molly's Game.
What's
a movie
that?
called Molly's Game.
Jessica Chastain.
Oh, I love Jessica Chastain. And so this is an opportunity. It's people not only raise money, but for people, I assume, in this community to come together.
We have 1,200
it gets
people.
young.
1,200 people.
1,200 people. We'll raise over $1 million, about $1.2 million last year. And you go and you don't have to sit at a table and a rubber chicken dinner and lots of speeches. No speeches. If I do a minute, it's a long time. And
so are you too humble to realize that if your son was alive, how proud he'd be of your whole family for doing this?
Oh, yeah, I wish he was alive. I mean, am I too humble to...
The answer is yes,
I don't
based
know.
on that answer. It's pretty obvious.
I don't know how to
You've
answer
done
that.
incredible work, the whole family, and I think everybody knows this young man because of you, and you're going to cure a disease because of your work. So thank you all, and good luck on Sunday.
Thanks,
Joe,
Jeff.
it's great
Thank
to
you
see
for
you.
your help.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Take care. See you soon. Again, the 33rd annual Joey O'Donnell film premieres this Sunday at the Natick Mall. For more information, you go to joeyfund.org/events.